Welcome to the Record Machine Show podcast. And now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
We've got an awesome show lined up for you this week. Rob Hussy from the band Cyanide is joining me for an interview. Cyanide has impressed fans with their original tracks and spot-on covers like Queen of the Reich, 10 Seconds to Love, and even some hidden gems like Kix's Girl Money. They've opened for legends such as Skid Row, Krokus, Stephen Pearcy of Ratt, Steel Panther, Doro, Enuff Z'Nuff, BulletBoys, Black and Blue, Tuff, Femme Fatale, Cheap Thrill, and more. With the release of Lethal Dose, the band is ready to make a leap from local favorite to national star. Fast forward to 2025 and Cyanide is back with a new album titled 21 Gun Salute. But before we dive into the interview, let's check out one of the fantastic tracks from this album called Slip and Slide. You just jammed to the track Slip and Slide, and I've got Rob from Cyanide on the line for a chat. Rob, how you doing?
Good.
Where you at today?
Oh, I'm at home. I'm in my stereo listening room.
Oh yeah, where is home at?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, it must be pretty hot there today, huh?
Oh God. Yeah, I won't be going out. I won't be going outside today.
100-something degrees?
Yeah, probably like 112.
Wow.
It's not humid. It's
like dry, right?
Yeah, so dry. So that's nice.
You have a swimming pool there?
Small little jacuzzi.
Okay.
Hot tub that I sit in the hot tub in the backyard and watch concerts on the big old movie screen that I threw up on the wall.
Nice. How long you been living there?
Yeah. Oh, Vegas, man. We moved here in when I was just a little kid back in late 70s.
Oh, wow.
And I've been here ever since.
Where were you born and raised? Like early on?
Born in Utah. I've lived in Iowa and Japan for a brief period in 5th grade.
Wow.
And but other than that, I've been in Vegas the whole time.
That's awesome, man. I like Vegas.
Yeah, it's a fun place to be. Certainly fits my lifestyle where, if I wanted to go, I don't know, if I wanted a steak at 2:00 in the morning, that's possible.
That's pretty cool though, man. I mean, I've been to Vegas. It was like 3 times I've been there. I used to go to the DJ convention all the time. And,
I didn't even know they had that here.
Yeah, they'd had it every year. So this was like in the late 90s, early 2000s. I used to go with a bunch of guys that I DJ'd with in New York and New Jersey and stuff. But it was pretty cool.
Did you ever go to Pinky's when you were here?
No, I never went there. I went to we went to Bellagio, and I think that's the one that has the fountain with the Sinatra tunes, like sing to the waterfalls shooting up and everything. Do you know about that?
Yeah, they got that.
Yeah, we kind of stayed like right in that little area in that strip there every time that we went. But yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. But I haven't been back there since. I'd love to get back there again. I want to take my wife there because she's never been there.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It's it's starting to the tourism here right now is at an all-time low, and so the casinos are finally starting to give deals again so that maybe people will actually want to come here, because man, the prices of everything here have become so ridiculous in the last couple of years. I went to a local band show the other night and paid $18 for a vodka soda. Like, what?
Jesus, you could have bought the whole bottle for that.
Right. And then this is just in the little room that the band's playing in. And then if you walk out of that room across to the main bar in the casino, $3 for a beer, $3 for a cocktail. It's like, why are you gouging people that want to come watch the bands?
Right.
How do you expect people to come watch the bands if you're going to gouge them like that?
Exactly.
And for me, like, my whole existence here is based on the local music scene. And so I just try to go out and support as many local friends, bands as I can. But it's gotten pretty expensive to do so.
Yeah. Do you know the guys from Crash Midnight?
In fact, one of the guitar players in Crash Midnight is also in Cyanide.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I don't really know those guys well. I've been to a few of their shows. We're Facebook friends, but we haven't got to play a show together yet. So I'm hoping that now that we're sharing a band member, that maybe we'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah, the singer Sean, he's been on my show a bunch of times. He's a good guy. Yeah,
great singer, great front man. I saw him for the first time back in 2019 at the House of Blues. And I was just like, wow, this band is definitely going to go somewhere. Like, all they have to do is stay together and they're going to be golden, They have that intangible thing when you see them on stage where you're just like, Yeah, that's the thing right there.
Yeah, Sean Soho is his name.
Yeah.
Good guy, real cool. Like I said, he's been on the show a few times. Well, that's
Nice.
why I figured I'd ask you once you said you were in Vegas, because I know he does a lot of shows out there.
Yeah, and it's so funny because my guitar player, Lahi Cassiano, he was formerly of Velvet Chains, and he's been with me now in Cyanide for just a couple months. And then just yesterday we were talking, and he mentioned that he's also going to be playing guitar in Crash Midnight. And so my first thought was, well, dude, let's play a show together then, man. That'll be great, because I think our style of music really complements each other.
I think so.
Show.
Definitely be good together on stage.
Yeah, great band, man. I love that they're just always releasing new music.
Yeah, he's been doing the singles thing. You know, he releases a single every few months.
Yeah.
But
I might do that as well, because as much as I wanted to believe while I was making this record that there's still a lot of people out there that still want to buy albums and experience a full album. It seems like maybe not. Maybe there's more people now that prefer just a single here and there.
Mm-hmm. So what initially sparked your interest in music, and how old were you when you decided to pursue it?
So when I was, basically from the time I was born, my dad was, he always had a stereo listening room in the basement at our house, wherever we lived. And so my earliest memories, and I have pictures of it where, I'm just sitting on my dad's lap. He's sitting next to the turntable, just, playing records. And so when I was about 3, I started bugging my dad, show me how to use this turntable,
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was probably about 4 when he finally said, okay. And so he taught me how to properly care for a record and play them and all that stuff. And so I still practice all that to this day. I'm kind of like, OCD about how I take care of my stuff because of that. But so the first record I started playing out of his collection was Abbey Road by the Beatles.
Nice.
And I just played that thing over and over and over for a couple of years. And then when I was about 6, I went, for some reason, I was allowed to hang out with these teenage kids in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid across the street, I was about 6, he was about 14. I would use my allowance to buy Kiss drawings off this kid. No, I didn't even know that it was a band. I just liked these drawings. And then I was at his house, and he had a Kiss poster on his wall. And I'm like, what is that? Are those girls? And he's like, no, man, that's Kiss, dude. And he takes out Love Gun and he puts it on, drops the needle on I Stole Your Love. And I just stood there and like heard the whole song, and my whole life just changed in an instant. And then from that moment on, I used my allowance to buy Kiss records and Kiss posters. And the only thing I talked about until probably 1983 when Shout at the Devil came out was Kiss,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was Kiss. I'd have to say that, once I saw pictures of them doing what they do live,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I have to grow up and do that. Like, that's my job. And, it didn't quite work out that way, but it's still a big part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just started because of Kiss. And then in 83, when Peace of Mind, Shout at the Devil, what other great albums came out in 83? I mean, Creatures of the Night was out the year before, but Lick It Up was out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, Holy Diver, I just kind of went gaga over heavy metal at that point. And then, and from that moment on, my whole goal was to get into a band. And so I got a little drum set when I was about 7. My aunt bought me this little, drum set.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down on it, having never played drums before, and just started playing Love Gun. And my mom was like, what on earth? How do you know how to play those? I don't know. I just do. And that's really how it started. was that little drum set and Love Gun. But I didn't get into an actual band until I was like 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it started, yeah.
And I guess you could say that Kiss, Iron Maiden, and Motley Crue are like your biggest musical influences then, right?
Definitely my top 3. I mean, gosh, there's probably like, if you ask me for my top 10 favorite bands, there's probably like 30 bands I would name. So there's a lot, but if I really had to choose my top 3, it's Motley Crue, Kiss, and Iron Maiden for sure.
Awesome. Your latest album, 21 Gun Salute, which is currently available now. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, that album, it's been released on Kibble Records, and it's only available on CD at the moment. The streaming release we're gearing up for. So right now, CD's available, and I started working on this record in 2016, believe it or not. The first Cyanide album had only been out for about a year and a half, and I was already ready to get going on the second album because I wanted it to be quick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But life got in the way, band member changes, COVID came along and kind of shut us down for a bit. And so the band broke up really around that point that COVID happened, and I had been working, you know, writing. Me and Mark, the original guitar player, were a writing team. We were about 4 songs deep into the new album, and then everything came to a screeching halt. And then him and I just kind of drifted apart, and I was kind of on my own then, and I didn't even know if I was going to continue. So after about a year of sitting around moping and being depressed about it and not even touching my guitar,
Mm-hmm.
I started writing again, and I just decided I'm not even going to put a band together at this point. I'm just going to make this record, and I'm going to make the record that I've always wanted to go out and buy myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put, like, the first Cyanide album is really just a party Sunset Strip type of album. There's not much metal to speak of on there.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really fun album. So when I started getting on this record, I really was thinking about Creatures of the Night, the Motley Crue Karabi album, and then also wanting to bring in some Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, some Metallica influences, you know, and just kind of balance things out. So this record is really, it's like half glam, half metal, and then there's a couple ballads. And, you know, that's what I was looking to do, is create one of those darker albums that those bands that I love so much had made, but still include party aspect of it, not just completely turn my back on that. And I'm really just super pleased with the results and the journey of the whole album. When you listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it starts out heavy, and then it goes glam for a while, and then it goes back into heavy at the end. And yeah, in a nutshell, I made that record without a band, and Ty Sims, the producer,
Mm-hmm.
he really took that sound of the record to a super high level. And I could never thank him enough for just, you know, when I first started working with him, he said, "What do you want your record to sound like?" I said, "Man, I'd love to have a combination of Dr. Feelgood, the Motley Karabi album, and the Black album.
Nice.
Kind of marry all that together." And sonically, I want it to sound like that, but also musically, I want it to have aspects of all that kind of stuff. And I think we accomplished that, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it's from what I heard so far, I think it's great. I think you did a great job on it.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I got a bunch of great. I was lucky enough to get Oz Fox from Stryper played a couple solos on the album.
Wow.
Jeff Duncan from Armored Saint played on 3 or 4 songs. We had John Zito from Count 77 on a few songs doing the solos. Since I didn't have a band, and guitar solos is really just the one thing I don't want to mess with because I'm just not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just lucky enough to have these guys come in and really take these songs to a much higher level with their guitar playing.
Now, you mentioned, lineup changes and things like that, and you recorded this album without a band. Do you have a band now, and who are the players that are working with you?
Yes, now I have a band. I did all the drums on the record, some rhythm guitar, played the bass, I did all the stuff, and had someone come in and play piano and keyboards, and the original producer of the album played a lot of keyboards on the album. And so it was really just a super fun experience making the record. Yeah,
it's like I said, it's a great sound. I love it. I think you did a great job on it.
Thank you, man. I give all credit to Ty Sims for the sound quality of the record. He really captured that Bob Rock vibe of the production. The drum mix is exactly what I was looking for. And so with that said, once I got close to, completing the record, okay, well now I got to put together a band so we can play this live. So with that in mind, I found, some really cool dudes around here in Vegas that are as into the album as I am. Mm-hmm. And I have a few tribute bands here in town. So like, I've kind of got the same group of guys that are in the tribute bands in Cyanide as well. Mm-hmm. And so it helps with scheduling, and it also just kind of helps us gel as a unit to do all these different things together.
Right.
And so we've got Lohan Cassiano on lead guitar. Mm-hmm. And we've got, so far, we haven't really settled on a permanent drummer. There's a couple of guys that we jam with, and, basically whoever's available will do the show. Mm-hmm. Right now, we've got a guy named Gary Rinaldi that's he's in our Iron Maiden tribute band. He's helping us out on drums for, the next show. And but we're looking for a permanent guy, somebody that wants to join all four bands and be part of the gang. I've got a guy named Greg Montoya on bass, who is this guy. He's also in the Iron Maiden tribute band. He can play all the Steve Harris stuff.
Nice.
And just play it well. He walked into the first Flight 666 rehearsal, and there was like 19 Iron Maiden songs on that set list, and he walked in and knew all of them and just played them all perfectly. We're like, yes, you're hired, dude. By the way, would you also like to be in Cyanide?
Hey.
And so, yeah, he's joined up with us. Mm-hmm. And as far as a second guitar player, we're working with a couple of guys. Jeremy Virayo, who played a lot on the record, mm-hmm. and is a good friend of mine, is helping out with some shows. And another guy here in town named Nico Hayek, who's got another band called Sex to Love, is going to be helping us out on guitar as well. And the cool thing is, if we're ever in a pinch, right, mm-hmm. and something comes up, if need be, I can always jump on the drums and handle the drums and sing the songs.
Nice.
So sometimes I do that at rehearsal, and it works out pretty good, until we find that right chemistry with the right guys. We're just kind of like playing it by ear.
This podcast will showcase two of your tracks, Slip and Slide and As the World Burns, along with a cover of Climax Blues Band's popular song, I Love You. What are the stories behind these songs, and what inspired you to cover Climax Blues Band?
So the Climax Blues Band is such an interesting thing, because there's another ballad on the record called Never Let Me Go, and I had finished all the music for it. And I literally just had nothing going on vocally. I hadn't put down anything at all that I liked. And I was, 4 months had gone by, and I was like, man, what if I never come up with a suitable vocal for this song? It'd be such a shame. And then one day an idea came out of nowhere, and I went in my studio and I went with it, and I'm developing it. And then I'm thinking, man, this reminds me of something. What is it? Can't quite put my finger on it. And I don't know, I was probably going at it for a couple weeks, and I was really digging what I was doing. And then one day I was like, oh, it's that Elton John song that I liked when I was a kid, man. Let me go find that song and see, you know, am I ripping off the, you know,
right.
Make sure that what I'm doing. Anyway, I go looking for that song and I can't find it anywhere because it's not Elton John. It's Climax Blues Band. Mm-hmm. But when I was a little kid and this song was like #1 on the charts, I thought it was Elton John. And so when I found out it was Climax Blues Band, and I went and listened to it a bunch of times, and I thought, man, what a great song. You know what? I'm going to put this on the record too. So the bad news was I had no melody for my ballad that I was writing because it sounded just like I Love You. But I decided to put I Love You on the record, and then I did finally come up with something for Never Let Me Go. So it is on the album. So that's how Never Let Me Go came to be on the record. Slip and Slide is another interesting one because I initially wrote the skeleton of that song back in 1988. And it's really the same thing with Get Up and Dance. Those two songs, I came up with the initial ideas for in 1988. But back then I was a drummer. And so really, you know, it's never kind of been acceptable when a drummer says, hey, man, I wrote some songs, you know. So my songs didn't get used. And so they've just kind of sat in my back pocket all these years that I was drumming. And when I finally decided to start singing, I was about 40 when I decided to be a singer. For whatever reason, I didn't use them for the first record. Mm-hmm. Probably because Mark, my songwriting partner and lead guitar player at the time, he was also bringing in songs. So it wasn't like I needed 10 of my songs. But when this record came about, you know, and I decided that I was going to write it by myself, I went through all my old stuff to see if I had anything I liked. And so Slip and Slide was one of them. And I found like a very old recording I had made of it, very primitive. And from that, I was able to kind of rework it and make it into what it showed up on the album as. Nice. Really happy with that song. As the World Burns, that was me trying my best to, because I'd never written metal before. I've always just kind of written glam party rock songs. Sunset Strip is like that's my jam, you know. And so I want to sit down and write something more metal, I said to myself. And I was listening to a lot of Metallica and a lot of Slayer and a lot of Anthrax. And I don't know, man. I think maybe that song was inspired by a combination of those three bands. And I just kind of, that song came together really quickly as the World Burns. I was surprised, actually. Musically, I had that whole thing, drums, guitar, and bass done in one afternoon. And then maybe a couple weeks later, the vocals were done. And the vocals that are on the record are the vocals I recorded for the demo when I brought it to the studio when we started recording it for real. The producer said, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with these vocals. I don't think you should do them again."
Nice.
So I didn't. So yeah. So As the World Burns was the first metal song that I wrote for the record, and really in general.
Mm-hmm. Very cool stories, my friend. Now that we learned the stories behind the songs, let's take a moment and relax and enjoy the song, I Love You. Wow, fantastic work on that song. When you create a new song, do you find the melody or the lyrics come to you first?
It varies. A song like Sweet Little Trash that's on the new album, I was asleep having the most wonderful dream that I was listening to the radio, and it was, it was still 1988 or 1989 because the DJ says, "Here's the brand new single from Ratt, Sweet Little Trash." And in my sleep, I hear this finished song, and it's so good that it wakes me up. And I jump out of bed. It's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I actually, usually when this happens, you find that you can't remember what you were just dreaming about. But for whatever reason, I was blessed with waking up, and the song was still like kind of playing in my head. And the whole chorus was finished. It was there. It was ready. And so I ran into my studio, and I jotted down as much of it as I could so that I'd remember it. And when I came back, I don't know, I think it was a couple days later, I came back a few days later and listened to it, and I'm like, man, this song's like already almost done, and I just, so that was like a gift from God. And Pump It To Me off the first album was like that as well. It just came, the whole song was finished. And then there's other songs like, Never Let Me Go. The music came first. I had a guitar riff, which I then added drums and bass to. No vocals. 4 months later, still no vocals. And then, as I alluded to before, the I Love You melody came to me, and then I realized I couldn't use that. And so, it just varies. Fireball, the lead track on the album, I had been, when Cyanide was out supporting the first record, and we opened up for Doro Pesh, we opened up for Grim Reaper. And, when we got in front of those crowds, and I realized we don't have any metal songs on our album. It's all Sunset Strip party anthems. So we started covering Free Will Burning and Jawbreaker by Judas Priest. So we'd have some metal in our set. And when I started writing the new record, I purposely said, I want to write something fast and heavy to open the album that makes me think of Judas Priest. And so that's how Fireball came. So it was, premeditated almost, I would say. Like, I want something like that. So yeah, it varies.
Very cool.
Rock and Roll Army is a song that's really interesting on the new record. A very dear friend of mine named Danny Goldstein, who I grew up playing music with as teenagers here, and learned everything together, and he's no longer with us. And it was really a bummer because we had been talking about all of our old songs that we had written together, because he released a book several years ago called Music Won't Pay the Bills, and it's available on Amazon. And when he was writing the book, we kept talking about old times and songs we wrote. And so Rock and Roll Army was actually the first song we ever wrote together. And he actually, wrote it initially. I just came in after the fact and helped out with it. But it's the song that made us become friends, because when we met in junior high school, we didn't like each other. And, but we'd still talk because we were fellow headbangers. And so even though we weren't friends, we would talk about music. And one day he tells me, he's got this band and he wrote this song. And I'm like, you ain't got no band. You're lying. You don't play guitar. and he's like, no, dude, check it out. And he sings me this chorus of Rock and Roll Army. And I suddenly just stopped in my tracks, and I instantly changed my opinion of Danny Goldstein. That was a great chorus, I said. That's really your song? Yeah, man, we just started working on it. You should bring your drums over, and we'll start a band. And so that's what I did. I brought my drums over. We wrote Rock and Roll Army in one afternoon, and that band was only together for like 7 or 8 months in the summer of '86. Wow. And we never recorded that stuff because we were just young kids. We didn't know how to do that. And so that song was lost over time until he started writing that book. And then we started talking about it. And then the big part of his book is about that song. And so, you know, when the book came out, I said, well, hey, man, let me just record that now so that we can at least have it to entertain ourselves, you know. And so we kept talking about it, and I kept not doing it. And then he was gone. And, man, I was really pissed, you know, that I didn't get that done for him while he was still with us. And so the day after he passed away, I went in my studio, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to record this song for Danny.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it start, man? How did it start? Call up a couple of the other guys that were in the band. Do you remember how Rock and Roll Army started? Nope, nobody remembers. We don't. And so I look up at the ceiling and say, Danny, how did this song start? And in about 30 seconds, I was playing it on guitar. So I don't know what everyone believes, but I believe on that day, Danny channeled that whole song down into me, and I rewrote the lyrics, and I sent it off to Comp 92.3, the local rock station here in town. They play local bands on Sunday nights, and instantly Rock and Roll Army was on the radio. And I feel like it's all because of Danny Goldstein. Jeff Duncan put an amazing solo on it, and I sent it off to the Comp Homegrown show, and she started playing it. And so that's the story behind that song.
Very cool story. I'm sure he's looking down on you, and he's very proud.
I hope so, man. I think it's really cool that the very first piece of music that kid ever wrote is now out there for the world to enjoy. And the version that's on the new album is even better than the one that we were getting played on the radio. The production is certainly way better. And I think with the reworked lyrics, it's much more effective. And I think possibly could end up being a single down the road, too.
Awesome. What do you think about the increasing significance of music videos? And will there be any music videos for the songs included in this release?
Yes, I am so excited that music videos are having that kind of a resurgence. I myself have missed my MTV in the days where I came home from school and Dial MTV was on, and 8 out of the 10 videos were heavy metal videos. You know, those were my days. And so with that said, I have released one video so far for 21 Gun Salute, which is the first single off the new album. And so that video is available on our official YouTube channel. And I'm also planning the follow-up for the next single is going to be Slip and Slide. And so we're going to be filming that video in the next month or so to coincide with the release of the album on streaming. Which was initially we were going to push the album out on streaming on September 1st, but we've just kind of realized that we need to take our time and make sure we do this right. So we're going to actually release the album on streaming in mid-October, probably October 17th at the moment is what it looks like, so that we can have time to properly promote the release on streaming and get that video done. And then we're going to I plan on making videos for As the World Burns, Get Up and Dance, and probably I Love You. And then at that point, we'll see where we're at. And if the momentum is still there, we'll just keep making videos. Because obviously every artist thinks their newest album is the best thing they've ever done. But I really do, when I listen to this record, I'm like, everything I did, even when I was a drummer, like, to me, this smokes everything I ever did. And I just want to put everything I can into this record because I really think it deserves to be, you know, with the albums I mentioned, Dr. Feelgood, the Karabi album, the Black album. I'm not saying it's as good as those albums, right? But it's in the vein and the style of those albums. And I think there's a real need out there amongst metal fans right now that they'd love to have another album like that.
Yeah, and having Ty Sims helping you out.
That guy, I told him when he sent me the final mixes, and I just sat down at home and listened to him through a really good sound system. I almost cried while I was listening to it. It sounded so good. And, I just sent him a text immediately, and I said, if I was in charge of nominating people for Grammys, your work on this record as a producer deserves a Grammy. And I stand by that 100%. Ty Sims is a rock star of a producer and also an amazing musician in his own right with his music.
Yeah, he's worked with a lot of people that I've interviewed.
He's the man. I really hope that I'm just always able to work with him, and I prefer to never work with another producer again. He's got everything.
Top notch.
Top notch.
Now, you mentioned earlier, in addition to Cyanide, you have other projects going on, a few cover bands. Do you want to talk about those a little bit?
Absolutely. I've built a website called CyanideRocks.com, and it's mainly for Cyanide, but also on there is a separate page, an EPK for each tribute band.
Nice.
And so the main one is Red Hot, the tribute to Motley Crue. I love singing Motley Crue songs, and people tell me that I do it well, so I just figured, why not, And so we put that together, and I just have the most fun going out there and singing. I get to sing songs like Danger off the Shout of the Devil album, Come On and Dance off the Too Fast for Love album, all my favorite tunes, and the fact that people just still love Too Fast for Love and Shout of the Devil, it enables us to fill the set list with a whole bunch of those songs. So the main part of our show is built around those two albums. And then, of course, we throw in a few songs off Theater of Pain, Girls, Dr. Feelgood. And it goes over really well. We actually sold out our last show, which was at Counts Vamped right before, they closed for good. We got to do a 3-night stand at Counts Vamped. And so on Thursday night, we had Cyanide doing the 21 Gun Salute album release party. And then Saturday night, we went back and as our tribute to Poison called Play Dirty.
Nice.
We did a set of Poison opening for a great Black Sabbath tribute band in town called Children of the Grave. And so that was a great night. And then Saturday night, we went back and we had High Priest, a great Judas Priest tribute band in town, playing with us, and we closed the night, and they had to shut the doors twice and stop letting people in. It was that packed. And
wow.
And so now what I'm doing is I'm booked. The next show I've booked is Red Hot with Poison, Play Dirty opening, and then Cyanide opening for that. So I've got all three bands booked in the same night. And then the Flight 666 Iron Maiden tribute is it doesn't really fit in with those bands, so it mostly we do Iron Maiden shows with this High Priest, Judas Priest tribute, and there's a couple other bands in town we're going to start playing around with the Iron Maiden. But yeah, if you go to CyanideRocks.com, you'll find videos and bios and links to all of the social media for all those tribute bands, as well as everything up to date on Cyanide.
Awesome. Now, can they purchase your music on your website as well?
You can purchase the Cyanide 21 Gun Salute album on the Kivel Records website in their official store.
Okay.
And so it's kivelrecords.com/store. And as soon as you land on the page, 21 Gun Salute pops right up.
Awesome.
Yes.
Now, all your show dates and everything up on your website?
Yes, there is a shows link on the front page of our website, and it's always up to date with all of the latest shows that we have booked. And I make sure I keep that thing updated constantly. So anytime there's anything new added, it's up on the website immediately.
Very cool. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
Wow. Gosh, I think we covered everything, man. I was really pleased that we got to talk about 21 Gun Salute and all of the challenges that went into making that record. It truly was a labor of love. And every time I listen to it, I think of all the obstacles and challenges and also the fun things that happened during the making of it, and just really so pleased with the way it came out and the way people are receiving it. I really think if we could get that album in front of every Motley Crue, Kiss, Metallica fan out there, I think they would all respond positively to it. I mean, I'm a fan of those bands, and I still, miss the days where those records were coming out all the time, and you could just ride your bike to the record store and buy the records. And so that's the kind of record I wanted to make. When I started, I redesigned my studio so that it looked like my bedroom when I was 15.
Wow.
So that when I go in there, I get right into that frame of mind that I was in when I was 15, where all I cared about was heavy metal. And it enables me to write these songs that I would have wanted to go out and buy when I was 15.
That's awesome. Totally cool. Well, Rob, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me. It was a really fun talk.
Yeah. And I'd love to have you back on in the future. If you got something else going on you want to promote, you're more than welcome. You got my number now. And
absolutely. Anytime. I would love to do it anytime.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think we should stay in touch,
Absolutely. Let's definitely do that.
And
us headbangers got to stick together.
Yes, sir. So, I want to wish you best of luck. Great stuff, man. Great stuff, this album.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk soon, all right?
Absolutely. And best of luck to you as well.
All right. Thank you, brother. You enjoy the rest of your day, all right?
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Big shout out to Rob. Thanks for our chat today. But before we wrap things up, let's check out another awesome track from this killer album. This one's called As the World Burns.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Hall Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.